Well, good afternoon. I wonder if we might get started. Thank you for joining us today. Hello first. My name is Marty Kolb, and I'm the chair of the BAC Awards Committee. It is my pleasure to kick off this awards celebration today, a true highlight of our year. I want to extend a special welcome to our guests, our clients, and our many BAC volunteers today. Now, this is very important. Please continue with your delicious lunch as we proceed with the program, okay? There's lots of food, and I want you to enjoy this, and we can listen in. So, since 1956, that's 70 years ago, Business Advisors of Cleveland has helped fuel Northeast Ohio's economic vitality by supporting emerging businesses through free mentoring from expert executives. That's all of our volunteers here today. Together, these BAC clients and our BAC volunteers forge pathways to success. At BAC, our mission, our passion, our whole focus comes from helping entrepreneurs and startups drive success and growth, fulfill unmet needs, and very importantly, create job opportunities. And as I said, BAC services are free, no charges ever. So let's just start with the economic impact of Business Advisors of Cleveland, our mentoring activity in Northeast Ohio since 1956. More than 10,000 clients served, BAC members donating over 120,000 volunteer hours, helping to generate over $100 million in additional revenues for these clients, and creating more than 1,400 new jobs. In 2025, last year alone, the value of the mentoring hours donated by BAC members exceeded $750,000. Earlier this year, the awards committee evaluated over 120 clients from 2025 and 2024. And today we have chosen 3 very deserving and market-leading business models to be recognized and commended. These are, first, on the Road to Success Award winner Adam Osberg from Cloud Financial Services, a rapidly growing business focused on providing financial systems optimization. A client since 2024, Jack Withrow leads the BAC client team. Second, on the Road to Success Award winner Chris Baggett from Northeast Ohio Plumbing and Mechanical, a business providing plumbing, HVAC, and electrical services. A client since 2024, Scott Harrison leads this BAC client team. And third, the Henry Chisholm III Pinnacle Award winner Barton Communities. Allison Urbanic is here, Janine Gergel is here, and Don Heckenmosier is here. I got it. A client since 2024, Barton Communities provides affordable living where older adults thrive in a comfortable, safe environment. John Nunari is the BAC leader on this project. Helping clients build productive and fruitful businesses is job number 1 at BAC. We are most honored to contribute to your success and to recognize you today. So our client sponsors will make some short comments and introduce our award winners, and then you will hear directly from them. Please refer to the program guide. Feel free to ask questions and enjoy your lunch, and we'll be back a bit later. Jack?
Thank you, Marty. This is actually my first Pinnacle Awards luncheon, so I'm glad to be here and happy everybody else joined us. Adam actually came to BAC before I did, and had an idea, went off, changed some of his thinking, and he came back to us. That's where I've gotten to know him. he'll tell you more about his business. I can tell you that he's a very genuine person. I know a little bit about some of the kinds of things he did. I grew up in that industry, and I have no hesitation to introduce him to relationships and clients that I have. So, Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Well, Jack, thank you very much. Jack and I bonded. We have a similar career path. He works in finance, and I work in accounting and finance. And I thank him very much for this opportunity to be here and speak with you all today at this wonderful organization. I'll tell you a quick story. And my first experience with this organization was when I had an idea that was kind of out there, right? It was a little bit strange, and I wanted to see what some people thought about it. And I ran across this organization, BAC, and I thought to myself, this is great. I can talk to these people, and I can get professional advice, and it could really help me get my business going. This is a different business idea than now. So, and the idea, one of the main components of my prior business idea was that you might not believe this, but it was a store where nobody buys anything. So it was like a Seinfeld store, basically, kind of a store where nobody buys anything. That didn't come to fruition. But during that time when I was talking to BAC about that store, about that chain of stores I was hoping to create, I thought to myself, it is real. There is a place that Clevelanders can go, and Clevelanders can get professional advice from qualified, experienced people, executive level people many times, for free. And I was treated very well throughout the process. And it was tough for me to believe it was real as I was going through it, but then I realized it is real. There is this kind of high quality group of people that is here in Cleveland to help Clevelanders to start their businesses and to help their businesses be successful. And I thought it was amazing. I've told many people since about the qualities of the BAC, and I've recommended many people to go to BAC when they've talked to me about their own business ideas. So fast forward a couple years, and I realized that it was the proper time for me to start a CPA firm. I'd been working in the CPA type business for 12 years at the time. I've been a CPA in Ohio for 12 years. I was licensed in 2014. And it was a much more reasonable excursion, I should say, to open a CPA firm as someone with experience in the CPA business, in tax and accounting business, than to open up a company that is totally unrelated to the CPA business, where nobody buys anything at the stores and I have to do a lot of selling, stuff like that. So anyway, I met with them at the onset of my walk to open this CPA firm, and there was a panel, and Jack was there, and I appreciate very much his advice, and I got some great advice when I was there. I did use that advice on the onset of my business, and I have ongoing advice for free from a great man. You may not know how great he is, but he's right there. His name is Alan Porter. He's a multifaceted man. He does a lot for the community, and he's actually a true friend of mine. So I receive ongoing advice from him, and from Jack here and there. But my business now is a CPA firm, but I call it a modern CPA firm, and I offer some of my unique offerings are that I can offer multiple things with one person. So, and many times, if a business would work with a CPA firm like Deloitte or EY or one of the other big four or some of the other larger firms, there might be a team of people that charge pretty high rates, if you ask me, that get the job done for a given business and get for their clients. And I thought to myself, well, I have a pretty wide breadth of skills. I can work in accounting, I can work in financial systems. I'm really good with data and implementations and acquisitions, and I can do a lot of this. I have a lot of tax experience. I can really be kind of a one-stop shop for small to mid-sized businesses to help them with a variety of issues, rather than them having a team of people that are charging, in my opinion, pretty high rates for a small to mid-sized business. Seemed like a natural fit, and things have gone very well for my business. I'm gaining steam. I have a backlog of work right now. I have clients in the private industry. I have a steel company I'm a fractional CFO for. I'm contracted with them for the year, helping them to roll out automating their quarterly close with everybody, the strange term AI, but the technology is here, and I believe it's time to use it responsibly. So I implement a data security policy for them to try to help mitigate any risks from data loss when working with AI and things of that nature. So it is here, but I also do other things for them, for the fractional CFO basis, cash forecasts. I gave them I thought it was a spectacular profitability report based on their job costs for the past 4 years, their job costing. And they believe it's spectacular as well, the profitability report, to show them what they can do to be more profitable in the future. I've done a lot of tax work for both businesses and for individuals, and I've done some remediation work. So quite often, more often than people talk about, people will not file their taxes for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it might be. They just don't pay attention to it, or they don't do their proper tax forms if they're a nonprofit. And I've helped a variety of people, both businesses and nonprofits, with remediation work for that kind of activity. So it's an exciting time for me. I enjoy being an entrepreneur. I enjoy owning my own business. And I enjoy being part of the BAC. Many of you have probably seen me in these luncheons more than once. I think this is a great organization, and I've spoken well of it, like I said before, to people throughout my life when the opportunity arose. But that's pretty much what I have to say other than thank you. I really appreciate you're showing appreciation for me and for my business and what I've done. And I hope that BAC can continue to help people like me throughout Cleveland. I think it's great. I just love the concept of entrepreneurship, people trying to do something and take initiative. So thank you for doing what you do, BAC, and I'm happy to be part of the organization.
Are there questions? Anyone have questions?
Okay.
You'd like to ask? Try to understand the BAC role that we played. Adam, any questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
And congratulations, my name is Matt Timmons, by the way, back here in the back bench. I'd be curious maybe if you could give one example, not to put you on the spot, of something that resonates with you in your memory where your interaction with BAC might have actually helped you, zig instead of zag, or make a different decision or a better decision than you might have if you hadn't had the chance to work with these esteemed experts. I wasn't there that day.
Okay. They helped me think about the insurance needs of my business, and when I first talked to them, I wasn't fully aware of the insurance needs of my business, and they helped me with that.
Okay, that's a good example.
That helped me zig instead of zag, yes.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Adam, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we were given 2 minutes. I told Marty it was a minute and 59 seconds, and I lied. So Chris, I could have told you to sit down, but you're good. No, thank you. So I'll speak a little louder. It's hard to hear in the back of the room. So wherever you are on the journey, your journey, we'll meet you there. That's a tagline from our Hudson Church, which was founded in 1802. Wherever you are on your journey, we'll meet you there. I think it aptly applies to our recipient today of BAC's On the Road to Success Award, Chris Faggett, founder and owner of Northeast Plumbing and Mechanical in Lakewood. So Scott, how on earth does a 20-year-old business qualify for an On the Road to Success Award? I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you why. Chris followed an initial dream into aviation, where he served as a commercial airline pilot from 1991 to 2010. Forgot to ask, who'd you fly for?
You don't want to know.
Oh, never mind. That's good. However, I think I could argue there was always this unrealized dream, unfulfilled ambition, and deep passion lying under the surface. So, while continuing to work as a pilot, Chris decided to fulfill that dream and opened Northeast Plumbing in 2006 while he was still a commercial pilot. Now, celebrating their 20th year in business, Chris and his team have built a successful company around a reputation for reliability, honesty, and high-quality workmanship throughout northern Ohio. Chris approached Grace Ann seeking a consultation with Business Advisors of Cleveland, November 2024. He came to BAC thanks to a referral from Uncle Cliff. Chris articulated the makeup of the team that he desired, and Grace Ann proceeded to put that team together. He hasn't fired any of us yet, so I'm assuming she did a pretty good job. Our first meeting with Chris was December 5th, 2024. His ask consisted of a rather complex task of helping him think through and plan his next chapter. Our consultations with Chris have included a site visit to his business and a half-day meeting with the product development team at Odie Company, a 110-year-old industry leader in plumbing supply product based right here in Cleveland. Nowhere else could Chris have experienced this level of free consultation but through Business Advisors of Cleveland. We've had a blast working with Chris, and he's dutifully taken our suggestions to heart and has worked on implementing. Simply, that's why he rose to the top to win this award today. We met him where he was on his journey. So on behalf of the Business Advisors team of John Kern, John McMillan, and myself, please join me in congratulating Chris Baggett from Northeast Plumbing.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Baggett, owner-operator of Northeast Plumbing Mechanical. I just want to say, first of all, it was Captain Baggett. And my team is awesome. Starting off with Grace Ann, she put a great team together for me. Scott Harsel, John, and John Kern. He is not able to be here today. But my team has, I'm at a point in my life where I'm looking to phase out of plumbing and retire. So I'm 56 next month, and I'm looking to sell my business by the age of 60. And they're helping me plan all that out and putting that all perspective. When I went to Kent State to learn how to fly, I didn't take any business courses. So you can imagine transferring from a cockpit to a plumbing business was a very steep learning curve. And these guys have helped me immensely. They've got me their suggestions about inventory control, cost cutting, and tracking both labor and different types of inventory has been very valuable in growing my business and making it a more profitable entity. I was told two things today. I was told, one, I can't wear my overalls, and to be brief. So that's about all I have today. And by the way, you guys are all in my service area, so you can all use me.
That's a
Thank you
little
very much.
token gift. I can hold on to it for you.
I have a question.
I take plumbing questions too.
Chris, did you have a role model or an idol of some sort in the plumbing business, the guy who helped you get started?
Well, the man who taught me how to plumb just died 3-4 weeks ago. He was a grumpy old son of a bitch, but he knew plumbing and he was amazing. Did not have a lot of patience. You didn't catch on fast. You were going to get a hammer thrown at your head. But he knew his stuff, and he was very free with his information. You know, if you showed an interest and if you showed a willingness to learn, he was always willing to help you and advance my career. So, yeah, that's all Mike Mattis.
So as a customer of yours, I really appreciate your willingness to come to the east side and service us on short notice. You do a good job. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, I'm curious, how much has the business changed since you started?
Plumbing has changed quite a bit. The craft of plumbing has changed from the art of soldering is basically dead now. Everyone is using ProPress to join pipes together for water supply lines. PEX wasn't even around when I started. Gas lines are now, everything's mega press, very little, no one's really cutting threads anymore into pipe and screwing fittings together. Everything is just put together and pressing it with large equipment. So yeah, it's changed quite dramatically.
Why plumbing?
Most of my buddies were plumbers, so when I was on days off, I had no one to play with. So they're like, "Oh no, Mr. Pilot, we can't go to the gun range with you, or we can't go fishing with you. We have to work." So I went to work with them, and yeah, so that's how that worked out.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. It's nice to see everybody and all the guests and everything. Thanks a lot for coming. The venue is great as usual, and the food was fantastic. To make sure that I don't talk too much, some of you might be surprised I put together a script so I can get the most important people up here, which is Barton Communities. So good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor to introduce this year's Pinnacle Award winner, Barton Communities. For decades now, Barton Communities has provided safe, affordable housing and supportive services that allow older adults to live with independence and dignity. And they're going to tell you a lot more about that. Their work touches hundreds of seniors across Northeast Ohio, and the positive impact they make in residents' lives is deeply appreciated. When Business Advisors of Cleveland and I began collaborating with them just over a year ago, we conducted a comprehensive organizational assessment that included staff surveys and leadership interviews. Throughout that process, we helped them strengthen communication across the organization, clarifying governance roles and aligning their team more effectively, all with the goal of serving their residents even better than they already were. The progress they've made so far has been impressive. Please join me in welcoming several key leaders from Barton today. Allison Urbanik is president. She'll be coming up in a minute. Don Heckelmoser, CEO. Tom Frazier is chairman of the for-profit board. He's been here before, a couple years ago, with Colu's Marketplace, but he wasn't able to make it today. And Janine Gergel, chairman of the nonprofit board. Thank all three of you for coming. And Allison, stage is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for this wonderful experience. Our experience with Business Advisors of Cleveland is one that really allowed us to take a moment and take a step back and understand who we are as a complex entity. It's oftentimes that you don't get to stop and pause and think about the future because you keep your head to the ground and you're focused on your mission, you're focused on the people that you serve. You don't really get a moment to think about the future, what it looks like, and how to continue to grow and to do so responsibly and respectfully to all those who are involved. So with the help of John Nanari and Business Advisors of Cleveland, we were able to do that. We were able to take a pause. We were able to look at who we were, where we wanted to go, and the best way for us to do that. So as John mentioned, we had conversations with our key leadership and some stakeholders and board members. We also had surveys that were completed by all 58 of our employees and other stakeholders in the community to understand how we are seen by outsiders, how we are perceived by our board members, as well as what our staff sees, with our leadership as well as our board members as well. We are a complex entity, as I mentioned. So we've got Don Heckelmoser. Don, if you want to come and join me. He is our CEO for our for-profit entity, and I am the CEO of our nonprofit entities. So together we come and we bring you Barton Communities. It's really important for us to have both sides of the house because the nonprofit entity owns the for-profit entity, and then the for-profit entity generates revenue for our nonprofit entity. And if you haven't been lost yet, don't worry, we'll get more complicated. So just with that brief description, it's a lot to digest and a lot to figure out. To take a step back, we were also one board about 3.5, 4 years ago. We were one board that served both the for-profit entity and the nonprofit entity. And our lawyers said, wait, we can't do that. We need to get a little bit more distance between the two entities. So we went through strategic planning. We are just in our 5th year of strategic plan, and Don and the board led Barton Communities through that. I came on about 3 years ago, but Don led them through the strategic planning that helped to create the separation between the for-profit and the nonprofit entities. And with that comes growing pains. With that comes some challenges and also new roles and learning how we're going to all work together and where the line is of what one entity is doing versus the other entity, and really redeveloping what the future for Barton Communities is. So I'm going to turn it over to Don. He's going to tell you a little bit about the history of Barton Communities and how we got here today, as well as our mission and who we serve.
Thank you, everybody. As Allison mentioned, my name is Don Heckelmoser. I've been with Barton Communities. This October will be 8 full years. Over the years, we've had a strong history of leadership. Until we brought Allison on, I had been the 4th CEO since about 1958. And when we kind of created our new organizational structure, I became and retained CEO of LSC Service Corp. Allison became CEO of Barton Communities, and kind of vice versa. So we've got a great officer core, and a lot of it at the recommendation of Business Advisors of Cleveland. But where it began was actually 1958 or so, when a group of like-minded individuals in Lakewood, just like Chris, which thank you, you've done work at some of our properties over the years, and we thank you and your team for all the great work keeping our buildings operational. So Lakewood Senior Citizen Inc. was a nonprofit that kind of started it all. A group of like-minded individuals in Lakewood got together and wanted a place for affordable place for older adults in the area to live and enjoy their later years. So they were successful. The first property, Westerly 1 in Lakewood, if anyone's familiar with Lakewood, was placed in service about 1963. And then over the course of the next decade or so, they were successful multiple times. And the full Westerly campus was realized at about 498 units in 1974. Over those years, we began to grow, and other nonprofit providers of affordable housing who were being run by volunteer board members were wondering how well the Westerly was running and if they could do the same things for them. So as the assets of Lakewood Senior Citizens Inc. began to grow through management, they decided in 1980-81 to create a for-profit subsidiary called LSC Service Corp., which began to manage the assets as a traditional property management company. So, fast forward to Kurt Broski, my predecessor, retiring after a very successful career, and we invested in the low-income housing tax credit program. And the Westerly apartments were renovated using 3 different sets of that program for a total of $42 million. And as Kurt was retiring, the board decided, well, what's next for our future? And I was lucky enough to be hired on. And we went through the strategic planning process, as Allison mentioned. And one of the things that came to fruition was we wanted to grow our portfolio in one way or the other. What did that mean and how did that mean? So developing new affordable housing, managing more units, growing our supportive services, which we've had for a long time, which is probably the biggest part of what we do that sets ourselves aside is our high quality supportive services for the independent living. We certainly use it as an asset management tool, but also just a human tool to make sure our residents are supported in every way they can be. So as we approach Business Advisors of Cleveland about maybe 2/3 of the way through our strategic plan that finished in 2021, we started executing some of the strategic growth opportunities and wanted to make sure we were doing it the right way with the right organizational design. So that led to a lot of the things that Allison mentioned, and here we are today. When I started, we had 1,034 units within our portfolio. We have just under 1,296 units in our portfolio now, so we're very proud to have began creating and either owning or managing an additional 200 units. So we continue to provide those high level of services, especially with someone like Allison at the helm, to make sure that the supportive services side of things aren't being lost due to the kind of business development side of things. So it's been a great tandem, and I will hand it back to either Allison or Janine to say a few words. Janine being a member of our board, and Allison and I being members of the team. So thank you all very much.
So now I'd like to introduce Janine Gurgel, who is the board president of our nonprofit board, who worked with Tom Frazier to connect us with the BAC.
Hi, thanks so much for having us and for recognizing our organization, and thanks so much to John and Nari for the help that you gave us. Tom unfortunately couldn't be here. He had an unexpected trip out of town, but we were wrestling as a board, Tom and I and a few other leaders, with 2 core challenges when we engaged with John. One was, how do we continue to grow, especially with a newer function, which is new property development, without sacrificing quality, safety, and resident experience. And we quickly realized the job was bigger than one person could handle. And we also were wrestling with this issue that Allison talked about with our boards bifurcating into 2 boards. I sit as a member of the for-profit board, but I'm also the chair of the nonprofit, which owns the for-profit. But how do we keep everyone on the same page? And John was well, first he was just a great sounding board. He allowed us to just sort of unload all of our concerns and fears, all of our hopes and dreams. And then he was so inclusive. He engaged the rest of the board in a series of either interviews or focus groups. He, as was mentioned, interviewed all of our key staff members. He did a survey with all of our residents just to make sure everybody's voice got to be part of the process. And because of that work, I feel like a lot of loose ends that had been not tied up for years finally got tied up to the place that we're now able to embark on our next strategic planning. So more confidence in our growth, I think, than the board had 5 years ago. So thank you, John.
And I'm going to leave you with one more thought before we take questions. Again, thank you so much for everything. Thank you to John, and thank you to the Business Advisors of Cleveland. We truly appreciate you. I just want to reiterate how important affordable housing is to our community. It provides a safe place for folks to call home. When we say older adult, that means 55 and older. It's a tough pill to swallow, it's getting closer. But it is a safe place, a high quality housing for folks. Right now in the state of Ohio, there are 268 people competing for each unit of affordable housing. So we have a significant shortage of affordable housing. So as we send you on your way today, we ask you for your help with advocacy. When you're talking with people, chat with them about the affordability crisis that we are all feeling in various ways. And to talk about the folks who will listen about how we need to create spaces for folks to live in safe places. So just asking you to go out and talk about the importance of affordability. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
How is what you do different from Section 8?
Great. Well, you can answer, I can answer. So I want to say, I'll start by saying I think Section 8 over the years has been given kind of a negative connotation for one reason or another that we don't have to get into. But Section 8 is the code or the statute that provides for the Housing Choice Voucher Program. And there is no difference. The difference is, out of our 1,296 units, about 647 of them are provided as project-based vouchers through the Section 8 program, which means that someone who lives in our unit, regardless of their income, pays about 30% of what their income and rent is, and then we submit a voucher monthly to the federal government or CMHA or Eden or North Coast to provide the rest of that. When it is just a LIHTC or a low-income housing tax credit program, the person doesn't receive a subsidy. It's just considered affordable by the basis of a math formula, basically, based on area median income divided by 12 times 0.3. And that is the max rent I can charge for that unit. But the person pays it without subsidy, and that's a little in the weeds, but great question.
You may be aware that the federal government sort of has highlighted 3 demographic groups for affordable housing: veterans, people with disabilities, and seniors, older adults, and we serve seniors, one of those 3 groups.
2, technically, veterans too.
Veterans too,
right?
of course.
We
of
do
course.
work very
and people
closely.
With disabilities.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we work closely with the HUD-VASH program, which is the Veterans Assistance Services, Veterans Assistance Supportive Housing Program, which we work closely with to fill some of our units. Yes,
But
ma'am.
you don't cater to people who need graduated assisted living? No.
That's your question.
So that is, no, we do not. So we provide independent living. So any of you could knock on the door and just like it's a regular apartment. So
Right.
they need to be able to either take care of themselves, or we do have licensed social workers at every one of our properties. And if they do need additional care, our service coordinators or our social workers would help them get connected to services. They provide resources and referrals, but a resident must be able to take care of themselves or be provided with folks who will allow them to stay in their apartment safely.
Well, which means we have turnover over time, right? Because as we all age, we all eventually move to that next level of care needed, and so our staff is regularly helping people with those care transitions, but then getting new residents into the building. So that's pretty much an ongoing process.
And you have partnerships with the groups who do the assisted care, assisted living?
So our finger is always on the pulse of what's going on, but ultimately individuals get to make their own decisions of where they'd like to go. But it's our job to provide them with many options, as well as identifying what they may specifically need, whether it's skilled care. We wouldn't make that assumption, but if they need to go to skilled care or maybe assisted living, we would help them identify what the next best step is for them.
So the disabilities include mental disabilities as well as physical disabilities? I know they're not part of your mission, but I'm just curious.
Sure.
For that.
I think from a qualification standpoint, a good way to answer that is we do not ask about mental health issues. It would violate fair housing to put something like that on our application. But I will say that other than the transition to the next level of care, dealing with mental health issues is one thing that our social workers probably deal with a lot more than we thought we would have in independent living. But yes, we can identify disability because we create or are required to create accommodations to residents with mobility issues or any other physical disability, including our new construction projects, which we're required to make a certain percentage ADA compliant and things like that. So very much so. But on the mental health side, it's kind of we're not allowed to ask, but if it does come to one of our social workers, as Allison mentioned, it is voluntary, but we will do what we can to support them.
Or if we identify individuals who may be challenged. A short story, we had someone who had a surgery recently and stopped taking their antipsychotic medications. And, we noticed a little bit of a behavior change. And then neighbors started saying, oh my gosh, did you see so-and-so? They're just off. Something's not right. And we kind of watched this individual a little bit more, and then we called family, and then we reached out to friends and neighbors, and finally this individual realized that maybe they were feeling good, forgot to take their medication, and we were able to get them the help that they needed to get back on track. So that again is a benefit of living in multifamily housing, because there's a community there. Someone's keeping an eye on someone else. We provide connection, a sense of place. And often family for those who don't have anyone who either they speak to anymore for various reasons, we all have family, or maybe they don't have anyone close to them any longer. So we provide a lot of wraparound support that creates just a special place for folks to call home. Thank you so much.
I was going to make one comment before we break up, if I could, if that's okay. I just want to say that I didn't want to get into this. I wanted them to go first, but I think I interact with, 60 to 80 people, intense kind of interviewing, hour to 2 hours, going over a litany of questions. And I just want to say that everybody that I interacted with was very professional. One of the things that stood out the most was everybody's had within their DNA that they wanted to make, these people's lives special, that they had a high standard of living, they were safe, well-fed, had something to do. So everybody has that. Every board member, every employee I talked to, from maintenance crew on up, from the whatever the bottom is, on up to the top, all has that same DNA. So I think you got a fantastic organization, and it was fun working with all of you. Thanks.
We agree.
Wow, it's been very exciting today. Let's have a big hand for our winners. Congratulations to all of you. So we're very honored here at BAC and feel most fortunate to collaborate with such great clients. Trust me, as a way of giving back to this community, we get as much, if not more, out of these great partnerships as our clients do. They're thanking us, but we're thanking them for coming to see us and work with us, and we learn so much from our clients, and of course when we're counseling from each other, from other BAC members. So I would like to thank the awards committee, Dick Bennett and John Kern, for their hard work and diligence, our client champions, Jack Withrow, Scott Harrison, and John Nunari, and our executive director, Grace Ann Bourne, for her terrific work in planning this awards ceremony and awards program. And on behalf of Business Advisors of Cleveland, to all our members and guests, thank you for joining us today to recognize our very worthy award winners, but also to recognize our mission and our commitment. Thank you also for your wonderful commitment into helping promote and helping Cleveland small businesses. Our award winners will all stick around for a while here, so please take this opportunity to speak with them. And again, thank you all. Thanks for participating in this great program, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.